I'm here at the NRA National Firearms Museum at NRA headquarters in Fairfax, Virginia. John Pop here with Logan Metesh. And Logan, welcome back to Curator's Corner.
Thank you.
This is a very exciting summer.
It really is.
At the National Firearms Museum. We had America's Rifle open up, steampunk, of course, and another great exhibit opening up called America's Pistol, opening this summer. So,
yes.
Okay, but there's one problem, though. We may have to redo this because these pistols aren't really American, Logan.
You caught me. You caught me.
So what's going on?
Well, America's Pistol, we kind of run the gamut. We're following the evolution of what leads us to America's Pistol. So this is kind of the meanwhile over in Europe table.
And Part one, the beginning.
Exactly, yeah. So we start in Europe in 1894. We've got the Borchardt, which is this piece here. It's actually the first semi-automatic pistol that the military, the United States military, adopts for some trials.
Okay.
So the Navy.
That is important then.
Yes, so the Navy uses it in 1894, and this particular example is actually tested at Springfield Armory in 1897 and 1898. It's a good design, but they discovered that the gun was not very, well, it was accurate, but it was not very good in terms of long-range penetration. So the design kind of fell by the wayside. Moving on.
So way back then they were working on semi-autos.
Absolutely.
Wow.
In the late 19th century, they're needing to move forward and find something a little better.
Right.
So the Borchardt is the first one on the scene, but it just doesn't go so well for it. So next up, we end up with the Broomhandle Mauser, the C96.
Which is very iconic, very recognizable firearm.
Absolutely. And this is a cool example in that it's got a detachable wooden buttstock. But it's also, you see there's a hole in here because this also acts as a wooden holster for this gun. So it's completely self-contained into this piece.
Very cool.
Now, this Mauser is really neat because in April of 1902, this gun is actually test fired by Peter Mauser at Springfield Armory. So a little bit of history there.
Literally bring out the big guns to show off this gun.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Pretty impressive.
You know, if you want to make sure it's shot right, you have the guy who makes the gun shoot it, right?
Bring the inventor along.
Absolutely. It's hard to go wrong if you have him.
So how did that go?
Well, you know, it's a good gun. It's a neat design. Of course, this one and what we'll talk about next, these are guns that are going to go on to dominate some of the world wars that we have, and these guns are going to be very popular, but they're not America's Pistol.
So we're moving on.
Yes, we move on from the Broomhandle Mauser. We end up with the Luger over here. The neat thing about this particular Luger is that on the back of the toggle, we have the initials GL for George Luger.
Oh, yeah.
It means this gun had special treatment at the factory. And then in May of 1903, George Luger himself takes this to Springfield Armory and test fires that gun.
So Springfield Armory must be getting used to this VIP treatment they were getting all the time.
They've got it down pat. They know how to do it, you know, with Mauser coming through and Luger coming through. Again, great gun, seen a lot on the battlefields in the 20th century, but again, it's not America's Pistol.
So I imagine in all this happening, Logan, that the American military and the American firearms manufacturers are learning a lot, and they're sort of going through this process of where they're coming to it, to where they think they need to be. So
absolutely.
So where does our storyline go next?
Well, the storyline comes back across the pond, and we find ourselves back in America for our next segment, and we'll be looking at some more creations that are made here on our own shore that go through the testing, and we end up with a head-to-head competition.
Wow, cool. Good setup. That's a good pre-sale, we call that, Logan.
I am pleased.
You got me interested, okay?
Well, that's all that matters.
All right, so it's America's Pistol. Great stuff, and seriously, great history here at the National Firearms Museum. You guys literally lay it out and let people see, and as we know, the firearms industry has been so important, you know, not only to our military, but just to manufacturing in general, the innovations and the things the firearms industry has done and continues to do, a leader in American industry. So very important history to know. All right, so how can folks get more information about America's Pistol and the other special exhibits and then all these wonderful other treasures here around us at the National Firearms Museum?
Absolutely. America's Pistol is opening up summer 2015, along with America's Rifle, and we've got steampunk going on here, so there's a lot to see. You can see us at NRA headquarters here in Fairfax, Virginia. Open 364 days a year, 9:30 to 5. It's always free, lots of parking. If you can't come to us in person, we're available online, nramuseums.com. If you're a social media person, follow us Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, you name it, we're there for you.
Wow. Logan, America's Pistol, Part 1. Get
Part
ready.
1.
We're going to be back. More Curator's Corner to come next week. American Pistol Part 2. Thanks for being on NRA News.
Thanks for having me, John.